Hello, and welcome to this week's Movie Math, where Wonder Woman 1984 has officially, the movie's out of gas. Maybe it'll get a boost next weekend because it's no longer available on HBO Max. Has anyone been waiting to watch Wonder Woman 1984 until now? But it has, so I think it's officially, I think we can call it, made less than the Croods 2 at the domestic box office, and a mere 10 million more globally. Wonder Woman 1984 performed on par with the Croods 2. And you can't say, well, Wonder Woman 1984 debuted simultaneously on HBO Max because just 17 days after the Croods 2 opened, it became available on PVOD for more money than an HBO Max subscription. So that's bad. Now, again, that's on the pandemic and Patty Jenkins. And we really need to see what the latest HBO Max subscription numbers are as a result of Wonder Woman 1984 being available on the service at launch. And we're supposed to get those numbers on Wednesday. Oh, exciting! It'll be interesting either way. We'll either be like, oh my God, good for you, Warner Brothers, or be like, oh, what are you going to do now? I will be covering it for sure. But still, the box office outcome alone is so horrifying that there's been a max exodus of movies from the 2021 winter and early spring release schedule. They're like, let's get out of here, boy. It's dead. Which means it's time to play our new favorite game. Should a movie continue to be pushed back or just release it already? So feel free to play along down below. By the way, the GIF and meme reactions to tweets about these movies getting pushed again make me laugh because we all know what's up. My favorite is the Sure Jan. That's really funny. All right, No Time to Die has moved again. This time from April 2nd to October 8th, which puts it right between Dune and then Halloween Kills and the Last Duel, which is that Ridley Scott historical movie starring Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Adam Driver, and Jodie Comer, which means that October 8th is a good time to die. Just release this movie already. It doesn't even look that good. I don't think anybody was even excited for it when it was supposed to originally come out. Some of you are like, what about Bond, Grace? And I understand, my father is a hardcore Bond fan. He loves it. I think he's even forgotten this movie exists, which means it'll be new when it rears its head again. But I still feel that I just don't think this is worth it. I think that people will have felt they waited long enough at this point, and they'll just wait till they can stream it eventually after it hits theaters. I don't even think it has any huge surprises that you have to see in the theater. But I also would argue that Daniel Craig has made, I think, one too many Bonds already. And so this would put him at two too many Bonds. I think it should go to streaming or PVOD, but MGM finds itself in a particularly difficult spot because they don't got no in-house streaming service to promote. And they have a ridiculous price tag that they've slapped on this movie. I have a theory that Apple might pay a little bit more money now. You'll find out later in this video when we talk about an interesting revelation about Apple TV+. Although, did you see the Snoopy trailer today? That looked really good. I'm glad I get it for free with my replacement phone. Yeah, that's basically what's happening, as you'll find out. All right, so then Sony Pictures, who hasn't released a movie in any way since Bloodshot at the beginning of the pandemic, although I thought that movie was fun, and that's actually the last movie that I saw in a theater. I saw it in Los Angeles. I was traveling there for work, and I got to see it at a press screening. It was my last time in a theater. I love you, AMC Century City. I had a good time. But Sony freaked out and moved all of its movies again. They're still not going to release any movies. Now, when Bond moved to Morbius' latest date, Jared Leto's vampire flick fled as if someone had opened a curtain during the day. And it ran to January 21st, 2022. Now, movies have historically done quite well during the Martin Luther King Day weekend, but not movies like Morbius. I think Morbius doesn't really fit that formula. So I think this movie should stream, for sure. But Sony also has a problem in that they don't have an in-house streaming service to bolster. And stop saying Crackle. Stop trying to make Crackle happen. Sony's not even trying to make Crackle happen. Sony also moved Cinderella from February 5th to July 16th, opposite Space Jam 2. Cinderella, they're like, oh, this is going to be a crowd pleaser. It's such a streaming movie. Peter Rabbit 2 from April 2nd to June 11th, one weekend before, it's about 1 weekend before Pixar's Luca. But here's the thing. Every date in 2021 sucks because there are too many movies. You can't really space them out. So it's just basically become a gladiator arena of entertainment, which is fun. Fun for us, horrifying for the movie studios. I mean, I think they're gonna find that they lose a lot of money no matter what, because they just can't space these movies out properly. So why not rip that Band-Aid off now and give us some entertainment? Although you'll see what happened to Soul. There is some good that can be done on streaming. Ghostbusters Afterlife moved from June 11th to November 11th, which is between Eternals and Mission Impossible 7. And then Uncharted moved from July 16th to February 11th, 2022. Of all those movies, I'd only save Ghostbusters Afterlife and Uncharted for theaters. I think that they haven't shown anything about Uncharted really, and we only got one teaser for Ghostbusters Afterlife. Although we don't have any faith in Ghostbusters After. Paul Rudd's in it though. I have high hopes for Paul Rudd. He's going to, at very least, be enjoyable in maybe a rest of a film that I suspect isn't very good. But anyway, the other two, Cinderella and Peter Rabbit 2, stream it. Peter Rabbit 2 would kill on PVOD Easter weekend, which is, when it was set to come out, but they just moved it. Then Universal, even with their 17-day release strategy in place, which I've said is the best one that any studio has, they've moved Nobody from February 26th to April 2nd. Nobody is like the perfect movie to benefit from that release strategy. I think that's ridiculous. And then Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho from April 23rd to October 22nd. They haven't talked about that movie at all. You can totally move that one. Then Paramount has moved A Quiet Place 2 again. Now from April 23rd all the way to September 17th. That film ran its entire ad campaign because it was supposed to come out right when the pandemic started. I also have heard that it's not quite as good as the first one. You know what? I think it's insane not to kick off Paramount Plus's launch in March with this movie being available. Just SpongeBob by itself ain't going to do it. And some of you who've seen SpongeBob in Canada said that SpongeBob also is a lackluster film, which is disappointing to hear. I think a lot of people would tune into Paramount Plus if it debuted with A Quiet Place 2. What would you do? What would get you to go and check out Paramount Plus? All right, and then even Disney didn't have the heart to keep Fox's leftover movie in play. So The King's Man has moved again from March 12th to August 20th, while Bob's Burgers now has no release date. I still can't believe they made a Bob's Burgers movie. The King's Man must be tangled in so much red tape contract-wise because it's nuts to have been sat on for this long when it could easily have gone to Hulu, or I even think it would fit in at Disney Plus. I think it's nuts to hold that movie. We know it's not rated. I don't think, is it made? Oh, the Kingsman movies have been rated R. Is that one rated R? Well, then stick it on Hulu. Or PVOD. It's insane that they're still sitting on that movie. Insane. Right now, no major movie is going to take a run at a theatrical only release until Black Widow, May 7th. Save us, Marvel! But even that's not a guarantee. I still feel that I really think it would be a mistake to move that film again. I would do the simultaneous release like Warner Brothers is doing and like Disney's doing with Raya and The Last Dragon, and debut Black Widow in theaters and on Disney Plus for premiere access. And by the way, because no movies, even in the summer, are set, I think that's one reason you might not get any major Super Bowl movie trailers this year, because why would you spend so much money to advertise a date that not only will maybe change, but I think is most likely to change? So you'll be like, hey, everybody get ready. What are you going to say? Coming sometime? It's just, you'll expose your film so much, and then you might have to push it again. So I think that, it's just too risky. Suddenly, Warner Brothers isn't looking so stupid for making its entire 2021 slate a theatrical and HBO Max simultaneous release. Again, we'll see what their latest subscription numbers are on Wednesday with AT&T's Investor Day. But with the money that Warner Brothers has had to spend to make talent happy with this streaming wrinkle, can they afford to spend money on a Super Bowl spot? Especially when they made quite the splash yesterday with Godzilla vs. Kong on just a regular old Sunday. Like, it would be fun to advertise this. I don't think they're going to spend the money on the Snyder Cut. Well, when they officially announce the Snyder Cut release date, we'll talk about all the drama that's happening there. Now, they could advertise something like the Suicide Squad, right? But again, why spend the money? They don't need to do that. Also, Warner Brothers has not historically advertised during the Super Bowl, even when everything's regular. So expect streaming services to dominate Super Bowl Sunday this year. Netflix, as we know, has a ton of movies to promote, and Dwayne Johnson loves the Super Bowl. I bet we get a red notice trailer. And then I think Disney Plus will advertise a lot. Not just the service overall. They've really been pushing the bundle recently. But also I think their upcoming Marvel shows. Falcon and Winter Soldier is a perfect fit with the Super Bowl, with all the U.S. agent stuff we've seen at sporting events within the trailer. It's a perfect thing to do. And they could even have a new look at Loki as those shows are fast approaching. Disney Plus is going to own Fridays forever. Although I wonder what's going to happen when movies start coming back. Disney ones in particular, how are they going to handle that? Now, speaking of Disney Plus and movies, it turns out that Soul was a monster hit for the streaming service. Monster! Nielsen releases ratings a couple of weeks late, and they finally revealed that for the week of release, Christmas Day, Soul was the most watched streaming content on all the platforms that it monitors. Although right now, Nielsen doesn't monitor HBO Max, which is a lucky break for Wonder Woman 1984 that it doesn't have to be compared to these Soul numbers. Soul, a mere movie, even outperformed all 9 seasons of The Office, which were on Netflix still at that time. They, of course, just recently moved over to Peacock. It sounds like something that would happen on The Office. All right, and then this gave Disney Plus 2 entries in the top 10 amongst a sea of Netflix content. Disney Plus hasn't released any updated subscriber numbers themselves either, but likely will have a sexy number ready for us on February 11th when they have their next investor report. As for what people were streaming just this past week, it's pretty boring over on iTunes. I think that streaming services, SVOD, have made PVOD, subscription video on demand versus premium video on demand, pretty boring. Everybody's over on the streaming services, and all these studios are putting their content on their own streaming services. So that's why someone like Apple is trying so hard to have their own streaming service. But it ain't going so well, as it was just revealed that 62% of Apple TV subscribers are getting the service for free thanks to Apple's promotion that if you buy anything from them, even if you replace your phone as I did, you get a free year of the service. You would think they would want to end that promotion after a reveal like that, but then would anybody be subscribed to Apple TV after that? I think Apple products are pretty expensive. I think this is a nice plus. I guess they could just raise the price on their products instead if they wanted to keep that deal going. Although it's like, I don't know, we all have Amazon Prime Video for free 2-day shipping. Why not have Apple TV Plus be a benefit to buying one of their products? But as I was going to say, now is the time that MGM maybe should go back to Apple TV Plus after that headline and say, maybe you'll pay a little bit more for Bond now. I mean, not the $600 I think they were asking, but maybe more than the $300 that was offered. Then on Netflix, you all hated the first look at Wink Saga. You were like, this is offensive. But then you all watched it anyway. Also, Bridgerton is still doing very well and was just renewed for a second season. And Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous is in the top 10. A lot of you tweet me about that as well, so it's nice to see it getting some recognition on the board. And then White Tiger is an okay hit, and it begs the question, if Netflix releases a movie a week in 2021, but if people don't notice that movie every week, is it really that exciting an accomplishment? I mean, on that note, this week's Netflix movie is The Dig, which I predict will also be largely ignored. But on Warner Brothers, they're going to have another big movie debuting in theaters and on HBO Max, and that's The Little Things. The review embargo for that lifts tomorrow, and I suspect it's not going to go the way that most people would think. We'll see. It releases at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, Sci-Fi launches its Resident Evil adaptation. This is a series, so it'll be weekly, which inadvertently seems to reveal that Alan Tudyk has surprisingly little range. I mean, sometimes when he does K2SO, he's very different, but this seems like so much like his character on Doom Patrol. I'm like, maybe, Alan Tudyk only has 3 modes, like K2SO, zany Alan Tudyk, and then, whatever he was doing on Firefly, right? So yeah, we'll see. It's weird to see what they did to a pretty serious comic, and they really made it silly. So we'll see. We'll see if anybody watches that, or any of you planning to watch that show. So it just shows how hard it is for cable networks to compete. It's so hard to look beyond the primary streaming services at this point. How do you stand out from the crowd? So what have you been watching? What do you plan to watch? And what do you think of all these release date changes and the Super Bowl situation? Share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.